Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about the structure of ovum, which is a very short topic and which is very important also. Structure of ovum. We know that the ovum is the largest cell in the human female. This ovum, which is a non-motile, whereas the sperm was motile, right students? The sperm was motile, which can able to have a movement because of the flagella which is present in the tail of the sperm, but the ovum was a non-motile. In the yesterday's class we have discussed about the oogenesis process, how this ovum is going to be get formed. That is nothing but we can also call it as a secondary oocyte, right? In the yesterday's class we have discussed it as a secondary oocyte. It is a non-motile. The ovum is a alicital, we can say, in the sense do not have yolk sac. In the next topic we will discuss what is this yolk sac and everything, right? So it is the ovum, human ovum we say will be the alicital, which do not have a yolk sac, and it is non-motile, where the size of the ovum is around 100 to 120 micrometers. As we know that the shape of the ovum will be the spherical or circular, we can say, right? That is a round, okay, right? The size 100 to 120 micrometers, the largest cell in the human body, which is a non-motile. They cannot able to have its own movement. Because of that only the ovum will be moving in the fallopian tube. Because of the which movements here? In the ciliary movements. We know this point, we have discussed in the locomotion and movement, right? Very important point you should remember here is the human female ovum does not have centriole, right? The female ovum does not have centriole, right? We know that if the centriole is present, only the division will happen here, right? But the human ovum, the female ovum does not have a centrioles. Why, ma'am? Why the centrioles will not be there? Better when the secondary oocyte, the structure is forming, there was a formation of centrioles, but later these centrioles will get degenerates here, right? Does not have a centrioles in the female ovum. The reason here is it need to provide a space for the organelles which is present in the ovum. We will see the structure now, and even majorly for the accommodation of space for the mitochondria, right? Mitochondria number will be get increased here to accommodate space for the mitochondria, and which it will provide the nutrients and support for the early stages of the embryonic development. As it need to accommodate a space for the remaining things here, the centriole has become degenerated in the ovum. Then how the cell division will happen, ma'am? Better in the ovum, the division will happen because of the proximal centriole which is present in the sperm after the entry. Better, if you want a detail about this point, you just watch the spermatogenesis, no sorry, the structure of the sperm video. There I had told you in detail how the proximal centriole is helpful for the division of the ovum after the entry of the sperm. Clear these points here? Okay, does not have a centriole here. Now the human ovum, the female ovum, is surrounded with the 4 layers. Better, surrounded with the how many layers here? No, 4 layers here. Look at the layers properly how I am drawing here. Okay, right? So imagine now this is a ovum which is a secondary oocyte. Inside that it will have a cytoplasm will be present, right? Imagine now this is all what here? No, cytoplasm. Imagine now this is all what here? No, cytoplasm, right? The cytoplasm which is present inside the ovum, right? The cytoplasm which is present inside the ovum, this cytoplasm name we are calling it as, this cytoplasm name we are calling it as a ooplasm, right? Ooplasm is also called as cytoplasm of the ova. Okay, after the inside this ooplasm, right, here all the ooplasm will be there. Ooplasm is nothing but the cytoplasm, what I have just. In this ooplasm we will be having a nutrients will be present, okay, which is needed for the support of this embryo development or maybe the zygote formation. And it also contains cellular organelles, right? Whatever the cell, of course better, this is also the largest cell here. Whatever the cell organelles will be there, every organelle will be present except the just now I told you, that is a centriole, right? Cellular organelles will be the present here. Clear? Next, in this cytoplasm there will be a genetic material also will be present, right? There will be what you know, genetic material. This genetic material, we are using the word for this is a germinal vesicle. We are using the word for this is a germinal vesicles. In the sense, the nucleus of ovum, we will use the word for this is a what here, germinal vesicles. And along with this, inside to this germinal cytoplasm, there will be some structures will be present here, which are in the cytoplasm, but near to the first membrane, which is the inner one here. So these structures, we are using the word for these structures as a what here, cortical granules. We are calling these are cortical granules, right? Cortical granules are present near to plasma membrane in ooplasm, right? Next, around this there will be a membrane called as the first outermost membrane. Look at here now beta, this is a membrane here, right? This will be the membrane which is the not outermost beta, this is the inner one here. So this inner membrane name, right, this inner membrane name, we are calling it as this inner membrane name, the first one which is the inner membrane name, that is a vitelline membrane. We are calling this is a vitelline membrane. Vitelline membrane is nothing but membrane, right, is nothing but plasma membrane of a ovum. We will call it as a vitelline membrane. Beta, this is a inner one. This is what you know, inner. I am going to discuss inner to outer beta here. So the innermost membrane which is surrounding the ovum, there is a 4 layers we told, and in that first layer vitelline membrane, which is also called as plasma membrane, which is the inner one we can say. Around this we will be having a next membrane, a next layer, which we will call that is a zona pellucida. Look at here, whatever I am drawing here now, this is a zona pellucida. I'm sorry, this is not correct circle. Let me try to draw this correct. थोड़ा सा डिफेक्ट होगा यार, right? So zona pellucida, this membrane name we are calling it as a what here no, zona pellucida, right? This membrane which is a third membrane, ma'am it's a second membrane, no beta, it's a third membrane, I'll discuss here, right? This is called as zona pellucida. Zona pellucida is a acellular. In the yesterday's class also I told you this point, acellular, right, which is rich with the glycoproteins, which was secreted by which oocyte? Yesterday only I told you, secondary oocyte, right? It protects the secondary oocyte and avoid the which pregnancy beta? Ectopic pregnancy. What do you mean by ectopic pregnancy? The implantation of the embryo other than the uterus, maybe in the fallopian tube or maybe in the cervix, we will call it as a ectopic pregnancy. This zona pellucida will protect this layer beta. Then ma'am, what is the second layer here? Right, now look at here, the second membrane, which the space which I am just drawing here now, right, the space which is present between the zona pellucida and the vitelline membrane, right, where I am just drawing here, the pinkish colored layer here, right, this pinkish colored thing, whatever is present here now beta here, right, these total we will call it as a which space here now, perivitelline space. I hope so in the NCERT also they have given the perivitelline space with the pink colored only, and they have given this zona pellucida with the green colored line, if I am not wrong. You can observe that in the NCERT. If you are having the NCERT in front of you, please check that point beta here. Okay, this is a zona pellucida. Now I am going to write about the which one here now, the second layer, that is called as perivitelline space. Perivitelline space. These lectures are based upon the NCERT. Some part will be out of NCERT, which is needed for your answering the questions better. So please utilize these lectures, because my intention is to teach you or to remember you all the NCERT along with the help of diagram, imagination thing here better, because just you can't able to remember the points just like as a batti manner usko mak karke to nahi rakh sakte na, hai na, right, you have to get remember every point with the help of diagram and imagination here. That's what I'm trying to make you these classes to be get helpful. Perivitelline space, you can see that perivitelline space is present between the zona pellucida plus vitelline membrane, है ना बेटा, right, this is a vitelline membrane, right, this will be the vitelline membrane, which is a plasma membrane here, and this will be the which one here no, zona pellucida. In between that whatever the space we have, we will call it as a perivitelline space. Ma'am, what is the importance of the perivitelline space? But a perivitelline space is the space where the polar bodies will be get degenerated here itself beta, right, polar bodies will get degenerated in the layer called as perivitelline space. Okay, we completed with the first layer, second layer, third layer. Then the outermost, the fourth layer here. Let me check which color, green color, right? Now see here, I am just going to draw the cells here. These cells, right, these cells we are calling it as granulosa cells. You can see here, I am just drawing these granulosa cells somewhat cuboidal shape and some are in the columnar shape. So this layer, the fourth layer, where can I write? Here I will write it here. The fourth layer, calling it as corona radiata cells, right, corona radiata cells. This is the outer one beta, this is the inner one, this is the second one, this is the third one, and the outer one, I am writing this one here, the outer layer of the ovum, we will call it as a what, corona radiata cells. These corona radiata cells is nothing but these are which cells here, granulosa cells. These are the which cells here, granulosa cells. Some will be the cuboidal, these are cuboidal beta, and some will be the what here no, columnar, right. It contains a multi-layer of, right, multi-layer of granulosa cells, which is some are cuboidal and some will be the columnar here. This is a total structure of the ovum here, right. If I revise the points here, please listen it carefully. Ma'am, you did not talk about the cortical gland. Okay, let me revise the points, everything. Then we are going to be get the points here, right. As I told you, the structure of ovum, right, I am just doing the revision here. Structure of ovum, it is the largest cell in the human, where the ovum is also calling it as a secondary oocyte. We know that this is an immature one, we can say, because it is stopped its division, right beta. In the metaphase, to yesterday's class we had told this point here, metaphase to it stopped its division, and it is a non-motile. As it is a non-motile, they will move in the fallopian tube with the help of ciliary movements, and this ovum is a elysical, which do not have a yolk sac. The size of the ovum will be 100 to 120 micrometers will be there, right. The shape will be the spherical or the the round. But the very important point here is the structure of ovum does not contain the organelle called as centriole. Not only in the ovum beta, हमारे body में, in our body, हमारे body में कहाँ नहीं था? Nerve cells also. Nerve cells also does not have a centriole. That's why beta nervous cell भी divide नहीं होता. Even our ovum also cannot divide by themselves, because if the centriole is not present, then automatically division will not happen here. In botany we'll read this point here. Okay, right. The ovum is made up of with the how many layers? 4 layers. Surrounded with the how many layers? 4 layers here. The first innermost layer we are calling it as a perivitelline membrane, which is the inner one. Acts like as a plasma membrane, and outside the plasma membrane there will be a space called as perivitelline space will be present, which is outside the perivitelline space we have a next membrane called as zona pellucida. After that we have a membrane, we have a layer called as corona radiata here, right? This is a direct NCERT diagram beta here now. Okay, if I go with the importance of everything here now, so first inside nucleus germinal vesicles contains a genetic material here. Okay, nucleus is also used the word calling it as a germinal vesicles. In that ooplasm only we will have this nucleus here. Okay, surrounded with the nuclear membrane everything, and ooplasm is having a nutrient cellular organelles here. And as I told you, the cortical granules will be present near to the vitelline membrane, which is present in the ooplasm. Better this cortical granules only is helpful for the reaction called as cortical reaction, right? These cortical granules will go on fuses with the vitelline membrane and with the zona pellucida, makes a harden of the zona pellucida to avoid the polyspermy beta here. In the next lecture we'll discuss that one, how the polyspermy will get avoided also here. Okay, right? Here all the nutrients everything will be present here. This is about the structure of the what here now? Ovum. I hope so you understand the structure of the ovum. Every point of NCERT and beyond the NCERT we have discussed here now. Thank you.